Hello everyone. Today I have a Husqvarna 359 that I'm going to change a fuel line in. Now I built this saw here a while back. Used a aftermarket cylinder and piston and a few of the fuel lines and stuff like that. Well, the fuel line I put on was a straight fuel line, and I'm going to change it to the Husqvarna pigtail type, because it's just, if you turn it in the wrong direction, it'll run itself out of gas, and I'm going to do away with that by putting this pigtail style fuel line in. It's just real good. I'll show it to you. That little thing right there. It's preformed in a coil, so it goes all over the gas tank wherever you're at. And this 359, the gas tank actually goes inside of the handle, so it needs to go in there quite a ways sometimes, depending on how you've got it oriented. But this works awesome. So it's not quite what was original in there. They had a straight one in there, but it was a much softer rubber, and the rubber wouldn't last very long. So I'm going to change this one, put it in there, and we're going to try it out, because like I said, the one I've got right now, it's kind of a stiff rubber, and it just doesn't move well enough inside the tank in order to keep the saw from running out of fuel. So let's give it a try. I wanted to show you a little something with the way that I was talking about, where the fuel line wouldn't go into where the gas was in the tank. And there's a couple of things you can do, because some of them, you get a fuel filter that looks like this. Now this is an old one that I just had laying out. It's come off an old saw that I was going to throw away. But if you get that, sometimes you don't have to change the fuel line, as long as it's still in good shape and you pressurize it and you don't have any cracks or breaks in it. So, but you can go get one of these. This is a Husqvarna OEM filter. It's much heavier. It'll go ahead and, if you got a little bit of a stiff line, it'll go ahead and roll it around like it needs to in the tank. Sometimes that'll work. So give it a try if you need to. This is my Husqvarna 359. It's ugly, but I love this saw. It's good, got good power, it's a good weight. It is a little on the heavy side, but for taking down trees and limbing, you just can't beat it. 20-inch bar on it. It's nice. It's just, like I said, the only thing I've got is the fuel line lets it run out of fuel, because it doesn't stay in the tank where it needs to be when you got it turned to the side. So, time to change the fuel filter, or the filter. This is the line I was talking about right here. I'll bring it up so you can see it a little bit better. But that's the fuel line that I put in it, and it's okay, but in order to get it to where it runs around the tank, you have to keep it really super short, and it's hard to put a filter on, so I'm going to change it out. Now this particular one, if you saw that, it goes through the case right here and down into the tank down below through that little slit right there. So we're going to take the fuel tank off of it. It's not a big deal. It's a little time consuming, but I'll speed through this whenever I go to edit, so you won't have to watch another hour-long video. Ooh, had those way too tight. And I go through these from start to finish like this, try to, just for people who aren't real comfortable about taking the saws apart or getting into it that much. It's not really for anybody who knows what they're doing, because I mean, anybody can, once they learn, they know how to take things apart and adjust them, all that good stuff. But not everybody does. So you got to kind of keep that in mind, that not everybody is real comfortable about taking chainsaw blades off and on and all that. And so that's what I do. That's what I want to do. I want to show people that really aren't comfortable about doing it, and showing them that it's not that big of a deal if they just want to tear into it. And there are some things you really need to know, but for the regular service part of it that some people don't want to do, there's things you can do without having to know a whole lot about them. Like I said, I love this saw. It's just, like I said, it's a little bit heavy, but it's not enough to not like it. Because I take this saw and I'll take just the one saw and maybe a small top handle echo depending on what I'm going to be doing. But for the most part, it's just this saw. I'll take it down in the woods and I'll cut down the smaller trees. Anything up to about 28, 30 inches or so, I'll use this. Yeah, you have to make a double cut in that large of a tree, but it's not that bad. And on this one, you've got a little wire that you just, it's just part of a spring. You just lift out and push up a little bit. Then you just rock that forward and just let that come out of it, and you're disconnected from the carburetor. Now I am going to, because this thing's still full of gas, I'm going to pinch that off for right now. And like I said before, push your fuel lines off, don't pull them off. And then on this one, if you take a hold of that, you use another set of these, and just move it out here to the side, it wiggles right out of there. Then you take this up out of here, and it's not being stubborn anyway. And then you've got three different bolts to come out of here for your AV mounts. These are a little different because you see the AV mount just pokes down inside of there, and that's all that holds it. It doesn't actually screw into it. The other side's the same way. Another spring-loaded AV mount right here. So you don't even have to take the recoil off on this one to get to anything. Makes it nice. Now I'm going to start losing some gas, so we're going to turn it back up. Let me loosen this gas cap up so I don't pressurize it and squirt gas all over myself when I open this up. And we should just be able to lift that right up out of there and pull that down. Now this particular one's got a vent that I ran. It didn't have the vent in it when I got it, but I added the vent. So it goes up in there. And you just pull it through there too, and everything separates. So it's good. You got that little doohickey there that's just a pain in my backside. And now comes the time I'm going to have to go dump this gas. All right, we'll lay that down here for right now. That just pulls out of there. Pretty easy. And you just pull that old hose right up on out of there. That's what I was talking about. It's just, it was in about right in there. And it moves around okay. but it just not, well, it went to about right there, but it just wasn't quite enough. It would hang up and just hold. And so I'm just gonna change it out with this one. And these they're already cut, but if they're not already cut, or you got one that's been cut already and you can use it, just cut that at a real steep angle, like that. Lick your fingers, put a little oil on it. It don't matter. I think I'll use a little bit of oil just to make it go down a little bit easier. Get it started in there, get some oil wrapped around it, get it started, push it in. Just keep pushing. I don't like this setup because it makes it a little easier for it to leak, as you can see. But we'll deal with that. So then reach in, grab a hold of the hose. Cut that hose off square. Yeah, I know they're sheet metal shears, not hose cutters, but we're going to use them for hose cutters because they work really good. Now that I let that go, let's grab it again. Now let's see how she works there. Oh yeah, she moves all the way around the tank now. All the way down inside the bottom of it. That's real good, because on this one the tank goes from here all the way to about right here. So it has to go inside that. It has to go down inside this if you're getting oil. Comes over here into that side, comes over there to that side, and we're good to go in that there now. Got plenty for the tank. Blow it off while I'm at it. Now I'm going to do something a little different here, because I am going to fix this right chair. This is driving me kabaddi. I'm going to put just a little bit of moto seal around it. Don't worry, that moto seal will come out. And we're going to tuck her back up in there. But that'll help seal that. That's what I'm after. Yep, that one all the way around. Okay, that'll help seal that up. I'll just let it dry for a day or so. Now then, we get to put this back together. Blow this off real quick. Alrighty. This one up through here so I can get to it. Put that one up through there so I can get to it. And now you just walk it down on top of it. Okay. I always start those by hand, those screws by hand, because they are going into plastic, and you do not want to strip out these gas tanks. I mean, you can still buy the gas tanks and all that, but it's just a lot easier if you just start it all by hand. Put this back in there so I don't dribble the sun. There we go. Leave that a little loose, because what you want to do here is you want to come up in here and you want to put this little AV mount back in here. So you're going to pull it back a little bit, drop that AV mount down in there, get your special little screw, put it down in here, start it up. This one you can tighten up once you get that AV mount set up. Just give it a good snug. That's all you need. Make sure that one's in position. Snug it up. Tight, but not too tight. Get your fuel line on there all the way and give it a little bit of a pull up. Now this one just does a little 90 trick here. Comes right back onto that little and if that's bent over just a little bit and crimped, it really doesn't matter, because that is the vent and it will suck air through that. So you don't have to worry too much about that. Since I don't have another filter yet, I will get another filter, believe me. Put that on there. Good. All right, back to the handle. got the dropsies. Tighten the one up on the spring first, just to kind of sort of hold everything, and just make sure these are run in a little bit. Not all the way, just you want it to be able to move a little bit. Then turn it over here and get these two that are on the bottom. Now these two that are on the bottom are always short. They're shorter than the other mount screws. You always got to pay attention to that. Never put a long screw where a short one came out, and never put a short one where a long one came out. Bad things happen. You don't want to over tighten those at all, because they're just going into that plastic fuel tank. Just get them good and snug. Now tighten up these. Put the top back on it. Now this top is in really bad shape. When I got it, it was all broke and smashed in. I heated it up and got the big bend out of it, but it's got a big break right there and it doesn't fit real great. So I'm in the midst of trying to find another one, but they're kind of hard to come by. So, that are in good shape anyway. So right now, I've only got one clip that holds it. I've got clips coming for it. Finish up the other two just so I'd have them even with this case on it. And I'll get me another case. Whether I have to go aftermarket or not, I don't care on this because it's my personal saw. That beeping is my sonic cleaner over there getting done. Okay, let's put some gas in it and give it a try. Here's my good old nasty gas can. I think I'll clean this up for you all one of these days, just to make it look pretty again. Always shake your gas can before you fill gas. If you leave gas inside of your saw for a little while, shake it up before you start using it again. Doesn't have to be a great deal because it'll stay suspended for the most part, but it just helps. Choke it out. There we go. Push it in. That's going to be high idle. Okay, and that is how you change the fuel line on that particular one. If you like what I put out, like and subscribe. I won't hold it against you. Have a good day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.